Cults, complex and mystifying social structures, have fascinated and puzzled people for centuries. These groups, often cloaked in secrecy, are known for their uncanny ability to manipulate their members' minds and induce alarming levels of devotion and obedience. The psychological impact these organizations have on their followers is profound, altering their perceptions and shaping their behaviors in ways that are often difficult to comprehend. In this video, we aim to unravel the enigma of cults and delve into an analytical exploration of their psychological aspects. Our objective is to dissect the mental mechanisms at play, particularly within some of the most famous cults in history. The field of cult psychology is a labyrinth of complex processes that underlie the formation, operation, and influence of these groups. Understanding these processes could equip us with the knowledge to recognize and resist undue influence and manipulation. This video will bring forth significant insights into the power dynamics, social influence, and group behavior that define cults. As we delve into this fascinating subject, we hope to shed light on the intricate workings of the human mind and the formidable power of social influence. In our exploration of cult psychology, a striking example to consider is the People's Temple, founded by Jim Jones. Originally, this group was established in the mid-20th century as a beacon of hope for civil rights advocacy. It promised racial equality, social justice, and a utopian society, resonating deeply with many who were disillusioned with the socio-political climate of the time. The charismatic Jim Jones, with his fiery speeches and grand promises, appeared to be a visionary leader who championed equality and unity. But beneath this benevolent facade, a more sinister narrative was taking shape. Over time, Jones's leadership took a dark turn. His initial messages of unity and equality began to give way to a more authoritarian regime. He skillfully manipulated his followers, exploiting their fears and desires to consolidate his power. He created an atmosphere of paranoia, suggesting that the outside world was hostile and that only within the temple could members find safety and salvation. This served to isolate the members, making them more pliable to Jones's influence and control. This transition from a social justice organization to a cult is a chilling reminder of how easily good intentions can be corrupted under the sway of a charismatic leader. The tragic climax of this story, the mass suicide at Jonestown, stands as one of the most horrific events in cult history. It's a stark testament to the power cult leaders have to manipulate their followers' perceptions and behaviors. As we delve deeper into the psychology of cults, this case study will serve as a foundation for understanding the mechanisms of manipulation and control at play. After the People's Temple, another case study that stands out in the annals of cult history is the Branch Davidians, led by David Koresh. This group, an offshoot of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, was established in the 1950s, but it was under Koresh's leadership in the 1980s and 90s that it became infamous. Koresh propagated an apocalyptic belief system, interpreting biblical prophecies in a way that foretold the imminent end of the world. He positioned himself as the final prophet, the Lamb of God, who alone could interpret the 7 seals mentioned in the book of Revelation. His followers, many of whom were searching for spiritual meaning and purpose, were drawn in by these prophetic interpretations and Koresh's charismatic persona. Similar to Jim Jones, Koresh exploited his followers' fears and desires, manipulating them into accepting his messianic claims. He controlled every aspect of their lives, from their daily routines to intimate relationships, asserting that this was necessary for their spiritual growth and preparation for the impending apocalypse. This level of control, coupled with the group's isolation from the outside world, made the Davidians highly susceptible to Koresh's influence. The tragic culmination of these dynamics was the 51-day standoff in Waco, Texas, between the Davidians and federal agents in 1993. This event, ending in a deadly fire that claimed many lives, is a chilling testament to the hold Koresh had over his followers and the dangerous implications of his apocalyptic prophecies. As we explore further, we will delve into how these leaders, like Koresh and Jones, use the power of persuasion to control and manipulate their followers, often leading to devastating consequences. In our journey through the murky world of cults, we come across the Family International, previously known as the Children of God. Founded in the late 1960s by David Brandt Berg, this group initially attracted the hippie youth of the time with its promises of communal living, love, and freedom. Berg, also known as Moses David, espoused a radical interpretation of Christianity that included free love and a rejection of traditional societal norms. Members of the group lived communally, sharing resources and responsibilities, and often traveling to spread their message of love and salvation. However, beneath this veneer of communal harmony and spiritual liberation, darker practices were taking place. Berg's doctrine of free love was exploited to justify sexual exploitation and abuse within the community, including of underage members. This led to numerous allegations and lawsuits against the group, casting a long shadow over its operations. Despite the controversies, the Family International continues to operate in various parts of the world today, albeit with significant changes in its doctrines and practices. The group now claims to have renounced the controversial practices of its past and focuses on humanitarian and evangelistic work. However, the scars of its past remain, with many former members speaking out about the abuses they suffered. This case study highlights the dangerous potential for manipulation and abuse within cults, even those that present themselves under the guise of love, freedom, and spirituality. As we move forward, we will delve deeper into the techniques used by cult leaders to persuade and control their followers, often leading to devastating consequences. Delving deeper into the labyrinth of cult psychology, we encounter some of the common tactics employed by cult leaders to ensnare and control their followers. One such technique is love bombing, a form of emotional manipulation where the target is showered with affection, praise, and attention. This outpouring of love is often overwhelming and intoxicating, particularly for individuals with low self-esteem who may be starved for validation. It creates a sense of belonging and acceptance, making the target more susceptible to the cult's influence. But this love is often conditional, used as a reward for compliance and withdrawn as punishment for dissent. Another powerful tool in the cult leader's arsenal is the exploitation of cognitive dissonance. This psychological phenomenon occurs when an individual holds two conflicting beliefs or behaves in a way that contradicts their beliefs. Cult leaders often induce cognitive dissonance in their followers through contradictory teachings or demands, creating mental discomfort. However, instead of questioning the leader or the cult's doctrines, followers are often driven to resolve this discomfort by rationalizing the contradiction, further entrenching their commitment to the cult. Obedience also plays a significant role in maintaining cult loyalty. Cult leaders often position themselves as divine or superior beings, commanding absolute obedience from their followers. This obedience is reinforced through a system of rewards and punishments, creating a culture of fear and control. Followers are often made to believe that disobedience equates to spiritual failure or eternal damnation, further solidifying their compliance. These tactics, love bombing, cognitive dissonance, and obedience, are just a few of the psychological weapons used by cult leaders to manipulate their followers. They exploit basic human needs for love, consistency, and direction, twisting them into tools of control. As we continue our exploration, we will examine the profound psychological impact these tactics can have on individuals and the challenges they pose for intervention and recovery. Having explored the techniques of love bombing, cognitive dissonance, obedience, and the power of persuasion, it becomes clear that cults operate on a complex web of psychological dynamics. Cult leaders strategically employ these techniques to manipulate their followers, capitalizing on their vulnerabilities and basic human needs. They create an environment that is simultaneously intoxicating and terrifying, offering acceptance and validation on one hand, and leveraging fear and guilt on the other. These dynamics not only trap individuals within the cult, but also isolate them from the external world, disrupting their connections with family, friends, and society at large. The cult becomes their world, their reality, often leading to a loss of individual identity and autonomy. This can have profound psychological impacts, from anxiety and depression to post-traumatic stress disorder and other severe mental health issues. On a societal level, cults can cause significant disruption and harm. The isolation and indoctrination of cult members often lead to estrangement from families, causing emotional distress and social fragmentation. In extreme cases, cults have been known to incite violence, mass suicides, and other destructive acts, posing a direct threat to public safety and societal stability. In sum, the psychological dynamics at play in cults are complex, potent, and often damaging. They highlight the power of manipulation, the vulnerability of the human psyche, and the potential for harm when these two factors converge. As we navigate through the labyrinth of cult psychology, it's crucial to remember the individuals at the center of these dynamics, the followers. Understanding their experiences, their vulnerabilities, and their struggles is key to developing effective strategies for intervention and recovery. Having delved into the psychological dynamics of cults and their impact on society, it's crucial to understand the persona at the helm of these manipulative systems, the cult leader. Cult leaders are often charismatic figures, possessing a magnetic personality that draws people towards them. But beneath this surface charm lies a master manipulator who skillfully exploits the psychological vulnerabilities of their followers. In our quest to understand the power of cult leaders, we turn to the insights provided by Psychology Today, Discover Magazine, and Online Psychology Degree. These sources reveal a common thread: the cult leader's ability to create an illusion of a utopian world, promising a sense of belonging, purpose, and salvation. They often pose as the ultimate solution to their followers' deepest fears and desires, weaving narratives that resonate with their emotional needs. Leaders manipulate social norms and group dynamics to foster a strong us versus them mentality. This not only enhances the bond within the group, but also isolates them from external influences, making them more susceptible to the leader's control. They also employ fear and guilt tactics to maintain their authority, ensuring unwavering loyalty and discouraging any form of dissent. This is the power of persuasion in the hands of a cult leader, a potent blend of charisma, communication, and manipulation that can draw people into their web and keep them entrapped. It's a psychological game of chess, with the followers often unaware they're even on the board. In the next scene, we will delve deeper into the power of persuasion and how it plays out in the context of cults. Stay tuned. Scene 7. Credits. This scene is based on research and insights provided by Psychology Today, Understanding Cults, The Basics, Discover Magazine, What Makes a Cult, and How Do Cult Leaders Control Their Followers, an online psychology degree. 10 things to know about the psychology of cults. At the heart of every cult is a charismatic leader with a knack for persuasive communication. This charisma, this magnetic allure, is often the first hook that draws potential followers in. But charisma alone is not enough. To build and maintain a cult, leaders must master the art of persuasion, a psychological tool as potent as it is subtle. Persuasion is more than just convincing someone to see things your way. It's about influencing their beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors, often without them realizing what's happening. Cult leaders are experts at this. They use a cocktail of psychological techniques, from priming and framing to the power of suggestion, to shape their followers' perception of reality. One of the key ingredients in this cocktail is the leader's ability to communicate persuasively. They spin narratives that resonate with their followers' deepest desires and fears. They position themselves as the solution, the guide, the beacon of hope in a world fraught with chaos and uncertainty. Adding to this is the leader's skillful manipulation of social norms and group dynamics. They create an us versus them mentality, fostering a sense of unique identity and purpose among their followers. This shared identity not only strengthens the bond between members, but also isolates them from external influences, making them more susceptible to the leader's persuasive tactics. Moreover, cult leaders often employ tactics of fear and guilt to maintain control. By instilling these emotions, they can manipulate their followers into compliance, ensuring loyalty and discouraging dissent. In essence, these leaders exploit the human tendency to seek meaning, belonging, and security, using their charisma and persuasive skills to offer these in abundance. But beneath the surface, they're pulling the strings, subtly influencing their followers' thoughts and actions to serve their own ends. This is the power of persuasion in the hands of a cult leader, a potent blend of charisma, communication, and manipulation that can draw people in and keep them entrapped. It's a psychological game of chess, with the followers often unaware they're even on the board. The power of persuasion is a formidable tool in the hands of cult leaders, often leaving followers entrapped in a web of manipulation and control. Social psychology offers a lens through which we can understand the appeal of cults for many individuals. Cults, often shrouded in mystery and intrigue, are more than just the product of charismatic leaders and their doctrines. They are, in fact, a manifestation of complex social psychological phenomena. At the heart of their formation and sustenance lie group dynamics, conformity, and social identity. Group dynamics in cults revolve around a central figure or idea, creating a cohesive unit. This cohesion, however, is often built on a foundation of intense emotional connections rather than rational thought. The collective identity that emerges can be so strong that it overrides individual identities, leading members to act in ways they might not under normal circumstances. Then, there's the principle of conformity, a potent force in social psychology. Humans, as social beings, have an inherent desire to fit in. Cult leaders exploit this desire, using sophisticated techniques to encourage conformity to the group's norms and beliefs. The pressure to conform can be so strong that it stifles dissent and criticism, further isolating members from the external world. Lastly, the concept of social identity plays a pivotal role. In cults, members often derive their sense of self from the group. This intense identification can lead to an us versus them mentality, where members perceive the outside world as threatening and view themselves as the enlightened ones. This dichotomy can further deepen commitment and loyalty to the group, but it's important to note that these social psychological aspects of cults don't operate in isolation. They are intricately interconnected, creating a web that can be challenging to untangle. Understanding these dynamics is crucial to comprehending why people join cults, why they stay, and how they might be helped. Through the lens of social psychology, we begin to see how group dynamics and the human need for belonging can drive individuals towards cults. The psychological impact of cults on their followers is a complex and multifaceted issue. Stepping into the labyrinth of the human mind, we find that the influence of cults often leaves a profound imprint on the psyche of their members. Firstly, let's delve into cognitive dissonance, a psychological phenomenon often experienced by cult members. This is a state of mental tension that arises when one's beliefs are contradicted by new information. In a cult setting, leaders often manipulate information, creating a reality where the cult's beliefs cannot be challenged. This manipulation can lead to members experiencing cognitive dissonance as they struggle to reconcile their personal beliefs with those imposed by the cult. Simultaneously, cults can significantly alter an individual's identity. The process of indoctrination often leads to self-alienation, where members lose touch with their pre-cult identity. Their thoughts, emotions, and actions become dictated by the cult's doctrine, leading to a loss of individuality and self-expression. This can result in a profound identity crisis, especially for those who manage to break free from the cult's grip. The mental health implications of cult involvement are equally distressing. Depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder are common among former cult members. The coercive practices and psychological manipulation employed by cults can lead to severe emotional distress, even long after a person has left the group. Furthermore, the long-term psychological implications for ex-cult members can be profound. The process of deprogramming and reintegrating into society presents its own set of challenges. Former members often grapple with feelings of guilt, shame, and confusion as they attempt to reconcile their cult experiences with their new reality. The journey to recovery is often long and arduous, requiring professional psychological support and a strong support network. The psychological toll of cult involvement can be severe, often leaving individuals grappling with their experiences for years after leaving the cult. As we continue to explore the enigma of cult psychology, it's crucial to remember the human cost of such manipulation and control. Understanding the psychology of cults is crucial for devising effective interventions and helping those affected. To truly comprehend the complexity of this task, we must first acknowledge the gravity of the situation. Cults, through their manipulative and coercive techniques, often cause significant psychological harm to their members. This damage can range from cognitive dissonance and emotional distress to severe mental health disorders such as post-traumatic stress disorder. The key to assisting those affected lies in understanding the psychological mechanisms that cults employ. It is not merely about the power of persuasion, but about the systematic breakdown of an individual's identity and the replacement of independent thought with the cult's ideology. With this understanding, mental health professionals can develop interventions tailored to the unique needs of cult victims. These interventions could include cognitive behavioral therapies to challenge harmful beliefs, trauma-focused therapies to address distressing experiences, and social support to rebuild the individual's sense of self and community. The role of mental health professionals in this process is pivotal. They offer a safe space for victims to process their experiences and begin their journey towards recovery. Their expertise allows them to recognize the signs of cult involvement and provide appropriate support. Moreover, mental health professionals can also contribute to prevention efforts. By educating the public about the tactics used by cults and the psychological vulnerabilities they exploit, they can help individuals recognize and resist such manipulation. However, it's important to remember that understanding and intervention are not just the responsibility of the professionals. We all have a role to play in this process. By fostering awareness and empathy, we can create a supportive environment for those affected by cults. The challenge is immense, but so is the potential for change. When we equip ourselves with knowledge and compassion, we can make a real difference in the lives of those affected by cults. With a clear understanding of cult psychology, we can better equip ourselves to help those affected and potentially prevent the formation of such groups in the future.